This type of video that I do is not a regurgitation of what is in the mainstream media or social media. A lot of the time when you step back and you put emotion to one side, you start to see things a lot more clearly, which is where I come in. Let me dissect things for you so you can see things just a little bit more clearly. And once you do, and you notice the pattern, it starts to show really what they're trying to do. So if you are interested in this style of video where you are delving a bit deeper, it's not just clickbait, it's not gossip, it's actually what is going on, then this could be the channel for you. As you've got this far, I really appreciate it, and I hope that you will like the video, hype it if that option is available, and subscribe so you don't miss future uploads. Now, before we get started, go grab your drink of choice, then sit back and relax as we get into some tea, truth, and a touch of therapeutic psychology. So what I want to explore today is whether Harry and Meghan subconsciously or consciously, whether they're attempting to build almost like an adjacent royal family, a royal court, without being the royal family. Now, I know that seems a bit bizarre, and before you roll your eyes, and I can probably see a lot of you doing that, just bear with me because I'm just going to explain what is really going on. It's not in the technical term, but there's definitely something going on here. You know, what this is, it's a parallel version, like a shadow court. It's kind of like on a royal adjacent ecosystem. But I think the biggest question that we would need to ask, you know, once we're delving into this, is who is it aimed at? And this is why in this video, I kind of, I really want to explore what it is they're doing. I think the first thing is like looking at why this isn't random. So I think one of the biggest mistakes I feel that people make when analysing Harry and Meghan is possibly assuming that their motives are surface level. And don't get me wrong, some of the time I believe they are. When you see, you know, some of the things that she puts out on her Instagram, I think they're very reactionary within sort of the moment. But I also feel there is something a lot deeper here. Every major initiative they've launched, if you look at this, tends to follow something the royal family have either they're doing in the moment or they've already done. They don't necessarily like copy it per se. There's enough of a difference where they can create that, which I've said before, the plausible deniability of we're not copying, this is kind of our own thing, but actually they are. And it's very strategic. They do it a lot in the media. Like recently we see when Catherine wears something, she will come out and she will wear perhaps something of a similar design, or she will wear the same color. And what this does is it hijacks the moment. So say for example, the one thing we noticed, so we're going to pull a recent one, which was Princess Catherine came out with this, wearing this beautiful blue coat. The next thing we know is we see Harry and Meghan at the Sundance Film Festival, and Meghan's wearing a blue coat. Now, of course, on the surface, which is why I think people miss this a lot of the time, is you would sort of think, well, so what? It's a blue coat. But what this does is it creates a media comparison. And if you look at the way social media behaves, the mainstream media behaves, so she hijacks Catherine's moment. So they stop talking about her and they pull the comparison and then start talking about. And even though it's negative, it doesn't matter, because it's not necessarily just about Meghan getting the positive attention. She needs to take away from Catherine, and that's what she does. So in that moment where people are talking about how beautiful this coat is on Catherine, the minute Meghan comes out and wears something that say the same sort of color, it's a coat, they immediately start creating this comparison, and then so it completely takes away from Catherine's moment. And if you notice, Meghan does this a lot. She's done it also with other people. She has done it with the Kardashians. She has done it with celebrities. She has done it with Princess Diana. She does this a lot. So when we're going back to like I say, the way that I feel that they're positioning themselves is the most recent one is that we've now heard that there is going to be this award ceremony for Invictus. I think this is incredibly important because this is what created me to really feel that this is what they're doing. They're almost like trying to create a shadow royal family. And I know that people will go, well, that won't happen. But I think we have to remember this isn't about the structure and the institution of the royal family that we have in the UK. That's not what they want. It's about popularity. It's about taking and undermining the royal family, and which is why I'm going to get to. So stay to the end, because I'm going to tell you where the dangerous aspect of Harry and Meghan really is. So when we look at this Invictus award ceremony, the parallel to that, of course, is Earthshot. And again, it's enough of a difference that people will go, oh, it's two completely separate entities, which it is, but it's the same, it's under the sort of same umbrella. And I think Harry, he has no purpose. And so by him positioning himself as the one that hands out the awards, it's almost like he's now sort of creating this hierarchy. So when you have the Invictus Games announcing an award ceremony, especially also being hosted in London, my brain automatically goes, okay, something's going on here, because award ceremonies, they're not neutral, they're hierarchical. What's the word? Hierarchical? Why can't I say the word? I've actually got it written down and I can't say it. Hierarchical. Why does it hierarchy? Anyway, you know what I mean. So the person who gives the award is positioned above the recipient, morally, symbolically, culturally, and that for Harry is incredibly important. So just sit with that for a minute. This is what he's doing. This is very strategic. Now you have the Earthshot. So it's like I say, it's enough of a difference where plausible deniability. But when we have seen Harry's behaviour and his jealousy of William, it makes sense. And I know that some people, when I was researching some of this, some of the things that were sort of coming out, this is not playground rivalry, but actually, I think it is. I think on a subconscious level, this is playground rivalry for Harry. Obviously, he is positioning it as this is. I think this is serious, but actually, when you strip it back, it does come down to that. He's always been jealous of his brother. So when you have Earthshot that launched, it did something very specific for William. It didn't just highlight environmental causes. It placed William at the centre of a future-facing moral project. It basically says this is the man that is covering the conversation. It's like, when you think of Earthshot, you think of William, right? Harry doesn't really have that. Okay, yes, he does have Invictus, but to be honest, Invictus is meant to be really just about the veterans. Harry is the one that obviously has become the face of it, but it isn't supposed to be the Harry and Meghan show. It is meant to be about the veterans. So if you look at this, really, he doesn't have anything. It's like it's a buffer. Because in all fairness, if you critique Harry, it's almost like you're critiquing veterans, which is not what we're doing. But that is how it will be portrayed. It's like he hides behind it. And by attaching an award structure to Invictus, Harry subtly moves himself from participant, founder, to the arbiter of value. Now it's like, I'm important now. I'm the one handing out these awards. I'm important. So it's a different cause, same shape. This is now starting to really take form, in my opinion. Now, then you have London. So I think London is a big tell. So two things come to mind. London is not neutral ground, but it's institutional, it's historical, it's symbolic, it's media heavy, and it's monarchy adjacent. So what's fascinating is that Meghan doesn't even need to be there. And I wonder if that was a strategic move. Now, it could be one of two things. It could be that we've seen Harry appears to be distancing himself from Meghan. We're certainly seeing that in his body language. But by bringing it to London, knowing that potentially she's not going to come here, it could mean that he's done this on purpose to stop her overshadowing, to make sure that she doesn't take it over. Because Harry alone in London, tied to veterans and service, reads completely differently than Harry and Meghan as a unit in California. It feels strategic with that, but it also shows that it creates this sort of symbolic need to be connected to the royal family still, because obviously it's London. You know, it's like, I reject the institution, but I still want the authority that comes from standing next to it. That's not accidental. I'm sorry, it's not. And the other thing that I was thinking also, could it be connected to security? Because what I find interesting is, why would you decide to have something in London when your security is not in place? When you've been saying how unsafe you feel in the UK, why would you then come to the UK? Why would you hold Invictus in the UK? Why would you then have this award ceremony in the UK? You know, this completely goes against what he's been talking about. Or is it that he's, in a sense, saying, look at what I can bring. Look at what I can bring. I'm bringing this award ceremony to London, but I need security for that. So, you know, this could be a clever ploy in one of two ways. Now, like I say, please stay to the end, because I will talk to you about something that I believe is really going on underneath all of this. So, you know, when you have a look at the parallel model to the royal family, I think even that it's like they want the adjacent kind of, like I say, the shadow royal family, but they don't want all of the rules and regulations that go with that. And they would look at the monarchy, which we know it's boring, it's restrained, it doesn't explain itself, it doesn't chase validation. But Harry and Meghan, constant storytelling, constant relevance, constant emotional engagement, and after a while, that does burn out audiences. It's you know, and I think this is where they're going to fall short. They don't recognize that. They truly do believe that they can keep doing what they're doing. And a lot of this is because of social media and the mainstream media. I think they are just looking at the way that they can govern. You know, we know they use bots. We know that sort of, and I wonder if they almost get confused with that being their real fan base, because it's not real people. You've only got to look at what I spoke about before in the previous video. Their fan base is very small in comparison. Now, the royal family, I think, you know, they are doing the right thing. You know, when that, you know, to some degree, the never complain, never explain, it does work to a point. But here's the thing, I don't feel they are keeping up with, you know, this talk of modernizing the royal family. I think it's not just a surface thing. It needs to go deeper than that. It needs to look at the function of social media and the way that is being used, especially by the younger generation. So even though for the most part, people like you and I who use critical thinking and understand what the royal family is about, there are a lot that don't. And these are the people that Harry and Meghan are attempting to, I think, by utilizing that. If you, like I said, if you look at the fact that it's interesting that he has created this without Meghan, or possibly knowing that Meghan can't come there, then in a way he's sort of saying, you know, he's trying to reclaim that independence. I think he's trying to separate his image from Meghan's UK unpopularity and ensure that the focus stays on him, because anywhere they go, the focus is about her. We know that, we've seen it. He really does just blend into the background. No one particularly cares about Harry. She purposely makes it all about her, and he would know that. You also then got to look at the faux royal tours. That's another one. You know, why would you be doing these faux royal tours when you've separated yourself from the royal family? The things that they're doing are adjacent to the royal family, without the rules, without the regulations, without, you know, they can earn from this, which is something they were not supposed to be doing, but they are doing, and no one is stopping them. The mainstream media feed into the narrative. It's like everything gets inflated. They are being created to believe they can do this because, well, they're doing it. I get it that they haven't got a huge following, but that doesn't matter to them, because as long as they can undermine the royal family, that is all they care about. And I know that some people say, and I've said it myself actually at times, well, without the royal family, who are they? But if they can increase their popularity and undermine the royal family, then if the royal family, say, got disbanded, they would still have their popularity, because where are they focusing it? The younger generation. And this is what I mean when I say stay to the end, because this is what I'm talking about. They know exactly what they're doing. And I do think Meghan is the driving force behind this. If they undermine the royal family enough, they know the younger generation are the upcoming generation. If they appeal to them with their cute online baby mama dances and the cute video that she attempts to put out, and this is the way she sees it, not the way I see it, and focusing on that aspect of things, what it does is it then starts to create the younger generation to see Harry and Meghan as hip and cool. Now, we know they're not, we know what they're doing, but that doesn't matter. Because as this generation goes, in a sense, if you want the royal family to have longevity, you've got to appeal to the younger generation. You have got to get to grips with the way they spend a lot of time online. And when you look at the way some of the younger people respond to the royal family, the comments are very, very similar. They just cut ribbons. We don't really understand. They take taxpayers' money. They're irrelevant. That we don't, you know, what's the point of them? They're fuddy-duddy. You know, who cares? You know, we see it. I see it. And I get why they think that, because they don't understand. And the unfortunate thing is, this is where I feel that sometimes the royal family are not utilising the younger generation as much. Is that there is not this level of understanding. The younger generation don't really understand the role of the royal family and how serious this is for our country. The younger generation don't care. I mean, when we think back to when we were younger, you know, if somebody sat me down and started telling me about the royal family, I'd probably just been like, you on board? Don't really care. It's like, yeah, okay, the Queen, yeah, she's great, whatever, but I don't really care. And to a point, yeah, I get that, because why do they need to care? And it's only as you get older and you research a little bit more and you understand. It's only when I started to do, as I got older, I understood the royal family a lot more, but I certainly didn't when I was younger. I just knew that the Queen did a speech every Christmas, and we sat as a family and watched it, and that was nice. But other than that, you know, I don't know, there was this mystery about the royal family, which I don't think is there so much anymore. But I just genuinely do feel this is what Harry and Meghan are doing. They are trying to undermine the royal family. They are trying to create themselves to be this hip and cool, like say, royal adjacent. And they're being allowed to do it. That's the problem. You know, when you have like the faux royal tours, the walkabouts, the school visits, the children, the hugging, the crouching down, we're just like you, we're so relatable videos. That is purposeful. She's not just putting something out there just for the sake of it. Everything she does, there's an agenda behind it. Every single time. And, you know, when you look at the Also, again, the hiding behind children, which is again what they do, because if you criticize that moment, like the Girl Scout, the Cookie Queens criticize that. Oh, you're so cruel because you're criticizing children. No, we're criticizing Harry and Meghan, hijacking something, making it all about them and taking it away from these children. But that's not how it is. It gets put across online. It's like they hide behind veterans. They hide behind children. And if you look at that, even her Instagram, she hides behind the footage she puts out of these kids because, to criticize the picture or post or whatever she puts out that's got the girl or the boy involved, you shouldn't criticize that because how dare you criticize the children? That's really cruel. That's mean. They know exactly what they're doing. I think, in all honesty, Meghan is trying to redefine what royal looks like. And again, she's going up an age-old institution, but that doesn't matter to her. Her ego is off the scale. She sees it as, like I say, duty, restraint, silence. But what she wants to show you, or what she believes she's showing you, is visibility, vulnerability, willing to talk about our feelings, even if they're all lies. Like I say, storytelling, my truth, which plays straight into this sort of, we've seen this Nepo baby complain about everything. You've only got to look at the recent one with, Brooklyn Beckham, who's had everything and still complains and moans. Harry had everything, complains and moans. They tap into that generation and the upcoming generation that are like that too. Now, before people panic and think, oh my gosh, this is what they're doing, this is awful. Here's why I don't think it will last. And this is the crucial bit, I feel. The royal family have come up against far worse than the likes of people like Meghan Markle. Now, the reason why I think is because institutions survive. They are there in the background. They are a source of stability. Now, obviously, we've got the pomp and circumstances, which is not what I mean. But generally, the things that they do, the sort of charities, etc., there's a highlighting. And this is why people sort of go, oh, it's all about ribbon cutting, because to them it's boring. This is a society of this instant gratification. And because the royals don't do the drama, it's boring to them. But that's where it builds the solid foundation. It has a solid foundation. The royal family has history. It survived through so much worse. It doesn't need to be liked because it performs a role, like we've seen recently where Harry has tried to hijack this situation with Trump. We know exactly why he was doing it. And of course, what happened was that Prince William and King Charles got critiqued for not speaking out publicly. But this was on social media because they don't understand, and they're so addicted to drama that they want the royal family to be involved in this drama. Harry is doing that. And this is what I mean. This is why I feel that, this is the attempt they're trying to do. But this has been going for years. Hundreds of years. They survive because they don't chase relevance. Harry and Meghan do. And the other thing as well is that Harry and Meghan lack discipline and a follow through. They hijack the moment, take the PR, and then walk away. That's literally all they do. There's no longevity. Whereas when you look at what the royal family do, they're consistent. They stick. They follow. There's grounding within the royal family that it has not changed. And even though I do feel that there needs to be, like I say, just trying to find a way to sort of tap into the younger generation, but other than that, it's worked for all these years. So I think you have to sort of tweak and change, because I'm sure the royal family have had to tweak and change along the years, and they're going to have to do that. But generally speaking, and Harry and Meghan have no follow through. They don't. I mean, to be fair, I think when the right situation is handing itself to them, I think they will absolutely separate and divorce. So even though some might not think, they sit around going, oh, let's create a shadow royal family. Well, I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put it past them to sit around and go, right, what can we do? Let's, and maybe this is what she tried to sell him in the beginning. Let's go to America. Let's create this adjacent royal family. That's what I possibly think she did. We could literally command Hollywood. We could, they would roll the red carpet out for us. We can do this and we can do that. And it's just fallen to nowhere. So aside from all of that, do I think that they are a threat to the royal family? Long term, no. But I do feel that they are chipping away. They're sort of knocking these little chips out at them. And I think that does need to be addressed. I've said this before, the royal family need to have them off the royal website. When you still have association with Harry flapping his gums when he's reactionary and says something, it does create a bad look for the royal family. I think the difference is most people can see it for what it is. Most intelligent people can see it for what it is. But Harry and Meghan are really trying to control the narrative online. And we know that they're also trying to censor. And this is where I feel the danger is, because if you take away the voice of people like you and I online, then what are we left with? We're left with them lying and manipulating, because I think it really is only people like us that find the truth. So, yeah, I think that, there is definitely something there. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have your own thoughts and opinions on this? As always, please be respectful, because you can disagree with what I say, what somebody else says. I don't ever pretend to be right. I just give you my perspective on this. And if you've got your own, you're absolutely free to put that in the comments and feel safe to do so. If you've liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, give it a hype if that option's available, and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want to support in other ways, then hit the description box below. You have lots of different ways if you want to add some little extra support on there. But if not, then just enjoying my video, liking and subscribing and sharing is and hyping is enough. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend, whatever you are doing, and I will see you next week. And I love you, I appreciate you, and yep, say it with me, I respect you. Take care. Bye-bye.